Hey everybody, it's Daniel again. So tonight, yeah, I'm tired, but I just wanted to share something with you. You saw the last episode that was about grinding it out, being the best you can be. Um, but I want to take a step back and kind of focus on something I know a lot of people are dealing with out there. I know it's something that I dealt with in my life prior. Obviously, that's kind of helped me personally. And it's always good to tell people about good things, but it's also, when you're being genuine and real, you talk about the bad as much as you talk about the good. And one of the things I want to talk about today is depression. Yeah, depression. So years ago, and it's been about 15 years now. Uh, my brother passed away, and it happens to be it was actually yesterday, this time 15 years ago. My brother was 18. He died in a car crash. Some of the events that led up to that, I felt that I was a little bit responsible for. And I talk about it because um, it's something that makes me who I am. It has helped me to get where I am today, and has helped me to deal with all the situations that I've dealt with over the years. And what I want to tell people out there who are dealing with depression or extreme uh, circumstances, at least with anxiety and or conditions that you're dealing with, I want to tell you that there is a lot of opportunity to get out of that. I can tell you that I live in Central Florida, and I didn't know I was dealing with depression after my brother's death. I knew that I was communicating to everybody. I was smiling on the outside and all of that. And I would cry probably every 3 or 4 days, if not every day. And I did that for about a year. And a lot of my family members didn't know or didn't see those things. My parents at the time had moved back home after the incident, and um, my parents, I would at night sneak out of the house, and I'd drive to a parking lot. It didn't matter where it was. It was a local park, local, uh, you know, grocery store or gas station parking lot. And I like cigars, so I'd buy a cigar, and I'd buy just a cheap 6 pack. And I would sit in my car. I would put the air conditioning on, and I remember it was like yesterday. And I would just smoke my cigar, and I sit there and I drink, and I would drive home. I mean, you know, and I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but that was my way of dealing with the situation. Um, and I remember I'd go to work every day. I was a consultant at the time, a junior consultant, and I drive up and down one of the highways here in Central Florida, and they had a lake. It's a very famous lake, Lake Jessup, known for a lot of alligators, and you can look that up if you want. Um, and I used to have thoughts of suicide. I would think, hey, what if I just drove my truck? I had a Silverado at the time. What if I just drove my truck into that lake every day? What would happen? Who would remember me, right? Um, who would miss me? I'm nobody. I haven't done anything. And I would think about that once or twice a week. Just drive a truck into the lake. Just go ahead. I mean, your brother died young. You're dealing with a lot. You're not. Life is rough right now. You're not accomplishing much. Um, and I was really in bad shape. And one of these days, I was actually driving home. I used to work real hard. I still do. And I fell asleep behind the wheel. And I remember driving off the road. I didn't so much remember that, but I got into the ditch on the side of the road, and I started pulling my truck out of it, and I slammed on the brakes. And when I did that, the truck started sliding because I was in the grass, and I came this close from hitting one of the light poles, like dead on the side of the highway. And at that moment in time, I kind of had an awakening, an epiphany, so to speak, that I could have died at that time. Um, who knows, right? Who knows? Who knows what happens in life? If you believe in God, you know that God has a purpose for you, and that you will go through certain things just to get to the other side. And if you're not a believer, you still believe that there are certain things that happen in the universe for a certain reason, and you're here for a reason, and that will obviously show itself to you. And there's life lessons. And one of my life lessons was that, and I didn't know this until years after I spoke to a friend, that this was what I was like, right? This is what I was thinking, suicide, and I was crying, and I was hurt, and I would sneak out, and I drank a lot. I remember my 25, I was 25 years old when my parents held a party for me, and I got so drunk, I face planted into my birthday cake. Just those things that I dealt with, I want to tell people that whoever's going through it, you can do exactly like what I've done. You will hit your breaking point, but you're not going to break. You don't have to. You might hit that point where you have an epiphany, an awakening, whatever. Take note of it. Take time to realize where you're at and what you're doing. And then take time to get a grip on your life. And you don't need no drugs, you don't need alcohol, you don't need a psychiatrist or psychologist. And for those, I'm not giving, this is just advice, this is just personal experience, no medical advice. But take it for what it is. You can get through it. I know, I don't claim to understand what you're going through, but I know what I went through. I know my thoughts of suicide and everything else. And I want to tell you that depression, it's real. It's not, don't label those people. Don't label yourselves. It's a problem we all struggle with, some of us more than others. But it's real and it's out there. And if you're dealing with it, seek help. Get friends to help you talk through it. And know that there is a moment where you'll have an awakening and a breaking point. And you got to choose life. And choose up, not down. And you're going to get through it. But that's what this episode is about. And I want to tell you that you've got a lot to do. There is a purpose. So if you're dealing with depression, take it from me, someone who I battled it for, a decade. I can tell you from the time I was 20, my brother passed, to the time I was 30, I dealt with it. I cried in my sleep sometimes. I would be crying in my sleep. And my wife encountered that, and she can tell you too. A lot of people can attest to it. So I want to let you know, please take care of yourself out there who's struggling with that stuff, and do yourself justice by catching it and catching yourself and getting a grip on it and helping yourself, whether you go seek help medically or through friends and family. That's the best thing you can do, okay? You have a life and you have a purpose, so please work through it. Peace out.